Recorded live from the secret underground lair of Crimson Cowl Comics and Collectibles, this is the Crimson Cowl Comic Club Podcast.
The following issues may contain spoilers. Spoon! I'm Anthony.
I'm Dr. Kurt's dad.
I'm D-Brad.
Welcome to issue number 345 of the Crimson Cowl Comic Club Podcast. Every time we record, we talk about comic books. On this week's show, we're going to have weekly reviews. That's where we go back and forth and talk about the books that we've been reading. Whether they're new, whether they're old, we're going to talk about them there. But before we jump into the weekly reviews, we are getting very close to some events for some appearances from Crimson Cowl Media. So we're going to promote that right now. The first one that is coming up is going to be Free Comic Book Day. That is going to be on Saturday, May 2nd, 2026, in beautiful downtown Skokie, Illinois. I will be there on hand to help out and hang out on Saturday. They have a bunch of guests lined up because they never miss an opportunity to celebrate Free Comic Book Day. And this is the lineup for Saturday. Art Baltazar, Jeffrey Brown, Minerva Fox, and Chris Giarrusso. And on that day is when they are going to debut the next issue of the All Yeah Comics, which will be issue number 16. And that is going to be a crossover issue that has G-Man, which is Chris Giarrusso's character, alongside Action Cat. So G-Man's going to be guest starring in the All Yeah Comics universe. And then that issue is special enough. But at the very end of it, you're going to see my debut pinup that I did for All Yeah Comics. So this will be my debut in an All Yeah Comics issue through a pinup that's going to be available in that issue on Free Comic Book Day. And that is going to be exciting. But then the very next day, on May 3rd, on the Sunday, they do Free Comic Book Day 2 times during the weekend. So they do a 2-day celebration. And on the second day celebration, they invite everybody back and come in for more sales and free comics. And then I will be there set up with my art and my comics alongside our friend Brian Lynch from Hot Wing of Justice. I'm not sure at the time of this recording if there's going to be more people announced, but we're getting ahead of this here. So myself and Brian will be teaming up once again like we did last year and selling our art to the masses on Free Comic Book Day Part 2. So come out to beautiful downtown Skokie, February 2nd on the Saturday, and May on May 2nd and May 3rd of 2026. And if you're not in that area, then definitely go to your local comic book shop and support them, and not only picking up the free comics, but also make some purchases as well, because it always comes to a cost to the shops to put on this event, and it's always one of the hardest working days for a comic shop. And so you can go there, help support them, go home with some free comics as well, and have a lot of fun. So there we go. That's the first plug, but we do have another one that is going to be in May. Not February, May. This is going to be PromCon, the West Bend High School's Comic-Con. This is the one that is in West Bend, Wisconsin, Saturday, May 16th from 9 to 5. This is the one that David Gloyd will be running through his comic club at the high school. And so this is year number 2 that we're doing it. So we have a lot of vendors set up, whether they be artists and selling toys and old comics and stuff like that. So coming out to PromCon, tell everybody about it. West Bend High School's Comic-Con. Free admission. All vendor table fees and concessions proceeds benefit the comic book club at the high school. So those are 2 events there that you can see us at out in the wild. I will just be at the Skokie location, but I'll be at the West Bend High School alongside David and the Crimson Cowl Media crew as well. So those are some plugs. Now let's jump right into the weekly reviews. First up for the weekly reviews, I am talking about a long-awaited graphic novel. This is Ninja Kaiju Unleashed. Ninjas and kaijus? What can be more fun than that? How about a ninja kaiju? What happens when you hire a ninja to steal a secret formula? What happens when that formula is held in a top secret, state of the art, high security science lab? What happens when that ninja accidentally gets splashed with the secret formula? Well, all of those questions and probably related, and answer the question, where did that giant kaiju monster suddenly come from? The life of a ninja isn't easy, with all the stealth sneaking, the high kicks, and the other ninjery things that need to be done. Now throw in a secret formula that turns you into a big city destroying monster, and suddenly you're not so stealthy anymore. The job gets even more difficult when you have not one, but two super smart mad scientists after you, because they think you stole their formula and send hordes of robots, the Air Force, and other never before seen science experiments after you. This is a long synopsis. We're almost done. It may no longer be just a job for a ninja, but it definitely is for a ninja kaiju. This is by Franca. I am just all over the place today. Franco Aureliani and Scoot McMahon. Okay, finally got through all that. This is a lot of fun. This is something that they announced last year in 2025, maybe even sooner, the way these kind of things roll out. So very much excited for this. We've seen Franco and Scoot McMahon team up on many a projects before, and this is just now their brand new latest release. If you're watching the YouTube video for Crimson Cowl Comic Club, you'll see some examples of this ninja kaiju with some tree nunchucks and breathing fire into the air. This was a lot of fun. This didn't waste any time getting right into the action. You got some talking about the secret formula and the secret lab, and you see a ninja sneaking around past security, and it doesn't take too long until it runs into this polar bear who happens to catch the ninja there and throws some fish at him. And during the hustle and the bustle, this formula explodes right there in the opening pages, and you can only imagine what that's going to lead to. That's just a little bit of a tease. We've got scientists that are alert to what's going on inside these labs. We've got the security running around trying to find this ninja, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, we find out that this ninja starts to grow and shrink into a kaiju. So that secret formula has turned the ninja into a ninja kaiju. And for a while, we do have our characters of the story that are kind of saying like, well, first we had a ninja, now we have to deal with a kaiju too. Where'd the ninja go? Where'd the kaiju go? So there's a lot of, there's not a lot of people connecting the two, because why would you? And throughout the story, we have a couple different scientists that we find out their relationship throughout the book, but they're both kind of on the task of trying to track down the people who stole the formula. You got the security running around, you got the kaiju going through the city, you got a lot of awesome cartoony fun artwork here. This is broken down into chapters, a very kind of easy reading, but very fun, very just kind of nonstop action pack. It really doesn't let up, and it just kind of keeps going and doesn't stop, and then right off the bat, the book, this volume at least, is called Unleashed, and I think it lives up to that title. There's some fun surprises with some other robots, a lot of good random comedy things. I'll share this page because it's pretty funny. As the kaiju has a history in this book of like walking through the city and finding out that between its toes there's a house. A house gets stuck in between the toes, and so there's a funny little scene here where there's an old couple that are sitting there reading the newspaper and working on like a knitting project, and they're like, "Are we moving?" And then the other one's like, "You probably forgot to take your pills." So you just have a scene there where they're kind of shaking, but they're sitting there having normal life and not knowing what's going on. But then we go down to the bottom page and we realize that their house is stuck in between the toes. They're now the toe jam of this ninja kaiju. But yeah, this is a lot of fun. It's everything I would expect from Franco and Scoot, and it was definitely a blast. Right down to the cool inside cover treatment. I love when they just kind of have cool designs on those opening like blank pages and stuff and make use of it, and just very well put together. I assume it's probably designed to do more because there is a #1 on the side. So hopefully people go out and buy this one so that we can get a second one. But yeah, Ninja Kaiju, Frank and Scoot. This is from Paper Cuts, and it's great, and it's a great all ages book. It's new reader friendly. These are all brand new characters. You don't need to have read anything else prior to this. And if you like a kaiju using trees as nunchucks, then what more can you want out of a story?
I was going to ask, in kaiju form, must be hard to do the ninja stuff.
Yeah, it's
Not too sneaky.
I'll say this: there, with the fire breathing and stuff. So there's some new techniques when it comes to the ninja techniques there. But yeah, it's I would say the stealthiness, kind of.
Yeah, hard to do the ninja vanish thing when you're.
The only way it happens if he shrinks back down again. But yeah, it's a hilarious setup and very well executed. Ninja Kaiju,
Right.
everybody, check it out.
Yeah. And can I add to it?
Yes, please.
Okay. And my favorite drawing in the book was made into a sticker.
Ooh.
I just love that picture of him with the nunchucks, right? Nunchucks.
Yeah.
It shows you how he makes them too. So this is a sticker, but I turned it into a magnet.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's a good
And
idea.
I also got
Yes, I was hoping you're going to have this. Oh,
these
that's
stickers.
Oh, the stickers. All
Yeah.
right.
Do you have that sketch card nearby too?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. And this is a sketch card drawn by Scoop.
All right.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's
there it
beautiful.
is. That would be
Hard.
one of the early drawings of it too. As far I know, there was like one. I think there was a Ninja Kaiju commission and I think they even show that in the book for the back matter and stuff too. But
Right. Yeah.
but yeah. So
I want to see the Ninja Kaiju meets Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this: Scoot McMahon is he loves the turtles and he's excellent at drawing them. So if you're listening, IDW, there needs to be a cooperation with Paper Cuts if you want to make $1 million.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There we go, Ninja Kaiju. Check it out. We're gonna jump over to Dr. Kurt's dad. What you got for us?
Well, I'm always surprised when you start the show talking about we do things old, we do things new. When you say old, I always know it's about what I'm doing this. If people remember from the last show, I started talking about Jack Kirby going over to DC for Marvel, mainly because he wanted to do his Fourth World stuff. That was really a dream of his, and he started it. They dropped it almost right away, but it's become kind of a standard now within DC Comics, even though they quickly did away with his work that was going on. And I did tell you that there were 4 books that he was writing that had to do with Fourth World. There was New Gods, The Future People, Mr. Miracle, and do you know what the 4th one is?
Jimmy Olsen.
Jimmy Olsen, which surprised the heck out of me when I was looking over all this stuff. Jimmy Olsen, what's that guy? So Jimmy Olsen and his pal Superman are the 4th part of the Fourth World when he put this together. What it mainly focuses on is Jimmy Olsen and the new kind of presentation of the Newsboy Legion, which had been kind of in the past, but now their kids are the new Newsboy Legion, and they're after Intergang, which is the kind of Darkseid's human collaborators. He gets a bunch of criminals who become a part of the movement he's having to take over Earth, and Jimmy and the Newsboy Legion are in the process of uncovering what's going on with all of them. They run into first a large sea monster, which isn't really a sea monster. If you want to see what it really is, you have to go, and Superman, of course, shows up to help them out when they're in trouble every now and then. But it mainly focuses on that what Jimmy and the Newsboy Legion uncover is that the United States has a secret program going on, altering DNA for their purposes. And they have DNA from all kinds of different people who they're using to create their changes in folks, including Jimmy Olsen, members of the Newsboy Legion, and Superman. And so we see their kind of creations of all these things, which is kind of a fascinating part of the whole thing is seeing, and what's going on overall is that the Intergang people are trying to steal the technology and use it for Darkseid's purposes. So we have this kind of interesting sort of crossing over into Darkseid using the technology that our people supposedly created. And one of the first things you get of their stuff, I'll see if I can pull up a picture of it here, is that they create a giant Jimmy Olsen, who
Give me
is
a kaiju.
who has been infused with kryptonite, so now he can take on Superman. So that's a big part of it. One of the Newsboy Legion, we find out they create a whole bunch of tiny little versions of him as soldiers. And it becomes a big part of the overall plot in this, to follow through on that. And it was interesting to see how you could take a comic like Jimmy Olsen and somehow bring in all this fourth world pieces. One of the things that is kind of a crossover from one of the other books I talked about in the Forever People. Remember, Superman finds out there's Supertown over in New Genesis, and he's thinking about going there, but knows Earth needs him. Well, and Jimmy Olsen, he gets to go to Supertown and encounters all these people with superpowers, and it makes him think. Because earlier in the other Forever People, he's wondering, why do I always have to be by myself? I am this person who's cut off from everyone else. I'm different than everyone else. And he longs for this opportunity to go to Supertown where there are people like him. And when he gets there, he does find that, but he also realizes the need Earth has for his abilities. And so in the end, he chooses to return to Earth rather than stay at Supertown, where he now is just one of the people who's normally going on. And in the very end, we get a bit of a confrontation with Darkseid that goes on. You also have special appearances by Don Rickles.
Oh yeah.
Within this particular series. So it's a lot of fun. They also bring back the Guardian.
That's what I was going to ask you if Guardian was in it. Yeah.
Yep. A DNA copy of the original Guardian now comes into this particular series. So there are a lot of great looking back on things that have gone on before in DC Comics, tying them into the fourth world that Jack Kirby does with it. And so if you want to read the entire kind of fourth world piece that Jack Kirby was putting together, part of that is looking at Jimmy Olsen. And like I say, I was surprised that, because Jimmy Olsen doesn't strike me as fourth world material, but he works it in there, and it makes for a very interesting piece. There's a different tone that I think than the rest of the fourth world pieces that he did. And it adds a little maybe humanness to the whole thing that goes on. And so it was a good piece.
Yeah. I have a question about that. I know sometimes Jack Kirby's Superman face would get redrawn by Kurt Swan. Did that happen in these ones?
As I understood it in all of the Jimmy Olsen, he was the writer artist.
Yeah, so they never changed the Superman face at all.
No. I'll pull one up here for you to take a look at if I can.
So that was something that had happened or rumored to happen?
There's Superman.
I can't really see it.
Okay, I'll see if I can get a bigger shot here somewhere in one of the covers, maybe.
And I can spotlight it.
Oh, yeah,
right.
spot. Yeah.
Let's see.
I'll get ready to spotlight it when he finds one.
Okay.
Well, this is the one I had. See if you can spot like that, and that'll help at all.
No, I can't tell.
Okay.
Yeah.
See if we can get another one here really quickly. But yeah, I think I'm always fascinated with Kirby's stuff too, because he is usually writing and illustrating.
Yeah, that looks like Kurt Swan face drawn over.
Oh, maybe Maybe he did do some
Yeah.
re.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was gonna say that doesn't jump out as Jack Kirby, just looking at, jaw lines and stuff.
Yeah. So, but I certainly found it interesting to go back in time to 1970s,
Mhm.
look at these comics, and it is interesting. There, anytime you go back and you look at comics from that period,
Mhm.
you catch all the changes in attitude that we have now. The
Mhm.
sexism that's there is
Yep.
there, and you have to. I think it's important we recognize that some of the
They yelling at the hippies too.
yep, yelling at the hippies and um, which are they have like hippies and biker gang people who are both
Yeah, both hippies. Yeah.
yeah
Yeah.
both there in their hidden place. So yeah, so Fourth World I think was a great thing. I feel there's something in me that feels bad for Jack Kirby that this was this dream he has and DC dropped it really quickly
Yeah.
and yet it lives on.
It does live on. Yeah. 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 When they,
2026, we're
really
still talking about it.
was it John Byrne that brought them back into Superman and they got a bit bigger during the Man of Steel
Yeah, I
day?
think so.
Yeah. And he
And
did
Dark
some.
Side really becomes a
Yeah.
central
Yeah.
pin and
Yeah.
Mr. Miracle actually has been
Yeah.
around forever since
Yeah.
Jack Kirby introduced him too, and all kinds
Yeah.
of different scenarios that have been a
Yeah.
part of that. So, and that's the part I love most and
Yeah.
I think that's why I got into looking at this as one of the short runs that went on for a while in comics is Mr. Miracle. I just love that character. I think it's a
Yeah.
great.
He's great. Yeah.
Cool.
So there you go. Jimmy Olsen and his pal Superman.
And his pal
Jack
Superman.
Kirby. Look for the Jack Kirby omnibus of that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think they're doing some DC Direct Fourth World.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
um, where they're like more affordable collections. They're soft covers, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'll definitely be getting those ones. I didn't like Jack Kirby when I was a kid. His artwork was not appealing to me, but then as I got older, it became more and more appealing, and I just love it now.
Yeah.
It's weird how your tastes change.
Yeah, they do over time.
Yeah. Hmm.
Cool. All right, jumping over to D. Brad, what you got for us?
Well, this is old, but in new packaging, I guess. It was um, Dick Tracy. Um, it's a new from Clover Press, the Library of American Comics. They do lots of great comic strip uh, prints, and this one they've done Dick Tracy before in hardcover, and but they don't go back to the beginning. This one they start off with 1941, and so it comes in a slipcase, hardcover slipcase,
Nice.
very nice, and but it's a soft cover book, and you can have it so it stands up this way, or you can have it so it stands that way. And it looks better when there's a book in it, actually. Covers are drawn by this one's Jerry Ordway.
Ah, cool.
I was a big fan of his from his All-Star Squadrons when I first got into him with the Justice Society. And it's pretty affordable. Like sometimes the hardcovers can be like really expensive, right? Like and so I'm glad that they put it in this format.
These are all the newspaper strips from 41.
Yeah, you'll get your newspaper strips, daily strips. Uh, I think would be what, 6 strips, and then you'd have your Sunday comic.
Okay.
It's not in color though,
Yep.
so that might be a downside for some people, but I'm okay with it. The designs are so fun of the characters, the villains. Um, I didn't have Dick Tracy in my newspaper growing up, and the first time I heard of Dick Tracy was from parodies in Mad Magazine.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah. And then I saw him on there's an old Archie Saturday morning series that had a segment with Dick Tracy. And then a second volume came too. So I have 2 volumes. This one just came. So this one's 1942. So it's I also have a 43 and a 44 on their way too.
Nice.
And also at the same time when I ordered these, I forgot I ordered these. So they're nice surprises you get in the mail, right? And and oh, here's how it looks when it's lying down. This is how I actually have it because my shelf that it's on, it won't fit this way.
This way. I have
Unless
lots
it,
of books like that.
yeah, yeah, so it fits that way fine. But what was I gonna say?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the other it's around the same time, and I think it's the same setup where it's like a soft cover in a hard bound case. I got it of the Stanley and John Romita Sr. Their daily syndicated Spider-Man comic. I used to collect it and cut it out, and so that's coming too. There's four volumes on their way throughout the year. They'll surprise me. I don't know when they're coming. But they're a fun read. I love the inking of Chester Gould. And I wasn't sure why they started in the 1940s rather than the 1930s. So I don't have any information about that why they started in 1941, 42, but I'm okay. It does have a like I think they plan it like when they start a new year, they'll start a new story. So it does make sense. It's not like all of a sudden in the middle of the story. It's like Dick Tracy shows up and there's like been a car bombing. There's quite a lot of violence for the time for the comic strip. And so I remember um, not only Mad Magazine making fun of that, but also the comic strip Little Abner had a character who was a parody of Dick Tracy called Fearless Fosdick, and and it had like people getting shot with bullets, and they would be full of holes, and you could see through them. You could put your arms through them and stuff like that. They just kind of had fun with the violence, poking fun at Dick Tracy there. So it's pretty cool. I like it. I'm
Yeah.
a I'm a new fan of Dick Tracy, even though he's been around for a long, long time.
Yeah. David talked about it because there was a Dick Tracy collection, I think, that was in our Kirby's collection. And
Oh yeah, yeah,
so he had talked about that. And I think it was some of the newspaper stuff, but I was trying to
yeah,
remember what decade, if that was, I don't know if it was the really old ones like that, but
yeah,
when he was talking about it, it reminded me, like, I haven't seen that movie in a long time. And now that
yeah,
you bring it, I'm like, oh, I gotta remember to watch that movie again.
yeah. I saw the movie I think once in the theater, and then but Warren Beatty, who played Dick Tracy, he doesn't like to let the rights expire. That's why there hasn't ever been a
Yeah.
new Dick Tracy movie. And so what he does is he does when the copyright's about to expire for him to make the movies, he does a special on one of those Turner Classic Movie channels,
Oh, okay.
and it's like an interview of him as Dick Tracy, and then someone's interviewing it. You'll find them on YouTube. There's
Really?
two. One came out again a few years ago.
So that
There's
counts as using the property then without,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
wow. Yeah, I remember too, like, because I would have been probably watching that stuff when I was in like kindergarten or first grade, because I do remember having like the Dick Tracy watch
Yep.
and stuff, like the toy
Cartoon.
watch and
Yep.
everything. So like
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
funny thinking about like the violence and the stuff, and here I was as a kindergartner like watching that. So
And they were so right that we now have watches like that now.
yeah,
Yep.
ahead of the time.
For real. I don't personally, but people in
Yeah.
my family do.
That's the one thing that I've stayed away with. I like technology and everything, but I was
Mhm.
never really much of a watch person anyways,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you know, that was one step too far for me. I don't need the wristwatch, Apple
Yeah.
Watch.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, unless I can read comics on there, maybe
Yeah, too small.
we'll have to just do just a single word balloon for each swipe.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Jumping over to the next one now. Mine aren't. My next one isn't as old as 1941, but it is going back to 1998 because we have the Tick's Big Back to School Special.
Awesome.
The Tick and Arthur are called upon to investigate unusual doings at Floby High. Every other superhero was busy. Sure, Arthur is a little old for high school, and so's the Tick, at least physically. So the two do-gooders have to go in undercover. They
21 Jump Street.
Yep. They soon realize that illicit activities are taking place at Floby, and we don't mean class skipping and toilet trashing. Can the Tick and Arthur find the mastermind bringing trouble back to school? This is done by Ben Edlund, Sean Wang, Mike Baker, and Dave Garcia. Ben Edlund is served as, I think, like the story idea. Let me see what his credit, the concept idea, and then the other ones did the writing and the art by Sean Wang, and inks by Mike Baker and Dave Garcia. So this was part of in the late '90s. They started doing some quarterly specials for the Tick, like they had the Back to the School special, they had a Valentine's special, summer special. They had there was the Christmas. The Christmas one, which is the title I'm forgetting right now, but the Yule log special. That one I just read because I've been rereading the Tick from the beginning. So it was fun that actually on Easter morning I was reading the Yule log special from the Tick. So, but here we are. I am up to the big Back to the School special, and this is definitely one of my favorites. Got a real fun, cool like kid art cover on like the yellow notepad type of drawing. And
now we know where your introduction came from. Spoon.
Yes, yep, that's right. 100%. And it's funny. There's a little commentary in here saying, "Yeah, we know like the child hand drawing kind of cover is done before. DC did it, this and that, but they said, frankly, ours is better. So that's why they stand behind doing it. That they just said, nope, ours is the best.
That'd be good if they actually got a child to draw it.
It would be, yeah." So this story kicks off right away with the Tick in school. There he is, hanging out with some high school kids as he's sitting there front of the class, and he's didn't really do much of a disguise throughout this issue because he still is wearing his big blue suit, and he would say that it's not a suit, it's just part of him, and that's all part of his backstory and everything. For those that don't know the Tick and Arthur, the Tick is a guy who had escaped from a loony bin and had become, he said he's the superhero protector of the city. Every time there's a new adaptation throughout comic books, the animated series and the live actions and the second live action, there's always kind of like a different, like altered background of the character. But this one is rooted in the idea of escaping from an insane asylum. And Arthur is a guy who is wearing a moth costume, but he's often mistaken as a bunny rabbit. And he is a former accountant. And now they're superheroes, and they mostly just hang out in their apartment / secret lair. And when they get a knock on the door from these people that work for the school, they have official badges and everything, but they come in and say, "We need the Tick and we need Arthur. We need you. There's a top secret mission at the school." And they're like, "Well, why'd you come to us?" And Arthur's all kind of excited, being like, "Hey, we're finally getting recognized because we have to get out there more. More people need to know we're superheroes." And now they got people coming to them. Well, then they find out, unfortunately, that they checked with every other superhero that exists and everyone's busy. So Arthur's a little bummed at that idea that they are literally the last resort, but nonetheless, they're going to jump into it. There's a good gag in here talking about how this letter, the secret information, the dossier, if you will, is going to self-destruct in 5 minutes, and they get distracted, and they actually didn't end up getting to read what their mission was before the letter blew up. So now they just knew the school. So now they have to go to school and try to figure out what that mission was supposed to be. Arthur doesn't think he can blend in too well, so he becomes a janitor. So there is
And
Arthur.
the Tick can blend in.
Yeah. This is one of the best things I've read, everybody. This was a blast. Here's the Tick in the lunchroom. As you see him sitting there, and he's the only one sitting at his table, and everyone else is sitting there. But very quickly they run into, the Tick is a little excited that Arthur, because he wanted to see what Arthur was going to pack him for lunch. So apparently Arthur was in charge of his cold lunch for school, and the Tick was very excited to see that Arthur went to the lengths of turning the hot dog into an octopus by cutting up the bottom there and just kind of making little
Oh,
tentacles.
how
So
sweet.
the tick was pretty fascinated with the fact that Arthur added that little extra thing there. But very quickly in the lunchroom is when a food fight starts, and the tick actually recognizes some kids, and he gets hit in the face with some food, which is right in that panel there.
What's the sound effect?
I got to stand up. There we go. So he gets hit in the head with some food, and
Flat, I think.
immediately he has a memory of them being hit in the head with snowballs, because in that Yule log special that I mentioned,
Oh, yeah.
these group of teenagers were assaulting them with snowballs.
Oh,
And the tick had this
continuity.
memory. Yeah, he's just like, where do I know these kids? And so we had that little flashback. You don't have to read it to understand it, but they give you the context here, and that kind of sets off the mission, because now they suspect that these high school kids who had kind of caused the food fight, that maybe there's something going on. Maybe that's part of their mission, because once again, the message blew up, so they have no idea what they're supposed to prevent here. And just to tease the third act, if you will, we are dealing with like a secret science lab. We're dealing with how should I say it? Some kind of like mind control. We see some stuff with the teachers and students building something, taking parts out of the cars from the teachers' lot and using that to design something. And so there's definitely some super villain uh, troublemaking going on behind the scenes at the high school. And for fans of the Tick readers, it is a pretty great reveal on who is behind this. Even though this is from '98, I'll still leave that because it's a one-off special, so you can enjoy it without needing to catch up on any history or even knowing much about the characters beyond what I already told you. But it is a pretty fun reveal, as they kind of have an actual villainous threat that is at this high school. So the whole time Tick and Arthur are undercover, they happen to locate the problem. But as Dr. Kurtzstad always says, you'll have to read to find out what happens. And yeah, so this was fun, especially with it being a one-off special. It's very inexpensive to find back issue copies of online and stuff. And maybe this could be someone's introduction into the Tick, as they just see just a lot of fun and just craziness. And yeah, I've been reading a lot of them over the last couple weeks, and this by far is one of the best issues I've read of the Tick.
Awesome.
So
Now, do they make Tick anymore?
Say that again.
They make the Tick anymore?
So the most recent one I just got in the mail, because they struck a deal with Ben Edlin to include a new Tick story from different creators, which is done in, I want to say it's in Planet Comics, I think is the title. And it was a Kickstarter thing that I backed. I wasn't familiar with the series. I think there's been many iterations of Planet Comics throughout the decades, but whatever currently is going on, this person is a big fan of the Tick and had an idea and reached out and got the permission. So it's an anthology with some other characters and creations and stuff, but there is a brand new Tick story that shows up in there. It's kind of like a magazine size proportion and stuff too. So that is the most recent, but prior to that, anything that had happened is probably like, it might be like a free comic book day. Sometimes they would do something for that, but I think it had been quite a while, because I think there was one during the Crimson Cowl storefront days, which could go back almost 10 years at this point, since they had like a Tick special like that. But it's something that somebody needs to just keep alive, and maybe the Planet Comics people, maybe that's just the beginning. But we need more Tick, because as Ben Edlin went on and did a lot more Hollywood stuff, he's got a lot of big Hollywood credits. He has like Firefly credits. I think Supernatural is another big credit of his. And I'm trying to think if he was on Lost or not, if he was part of the writing staff on there. Yep. So,
And didn't he do Angel too?
yeah, I think so. I think so. And that's probably what led to the Firefly thing. But yeah, so we need some more Tick, I think. So that's why I'm bringing this issue
Never too
here.
much Tick.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
And the animated series was gold too.
Yeah, it was.
That's like so funny.
and me and D. Brad were just talking about that. I forget if it was on or off air of Cartoonist by Night, but
Mhm.
I did some research because we were talking about the Deflator Mouse character and Batman Well, and I did some research on it because Ben Edlund had been a part of every single adaptation in cartoons and both live actions. His name was attached to everything, executive producer and everything.
Yep.
And but due to the rights of the comics and the animated series, there were things that even he couldn't carry over. So then he
Oh,
would do similar versions of. So if he introduced it in the comic book, then he would do a similar version in the animated series. But then if he created a character in the animated series, then he would do
yeah.
another similar version for the comic books. So they kind of went back and forth hand in hand. And so there's a
Okay.
couple characters that are very similar and just have
Yeah.
different names, but it's
Right.
all just due to different rights and everything like that, even
Okay.
though he's the one behind all of it.
Interesting.
So, all right, that is the Ticks Big Back to School special. Check it out if you want to see a giant blue superhero blend perfectly in the classroom of high school students.
He's in costume.
So good. All right, jumping over to Dr. Kurt's dad. What's next for you?
Okay, well, actually, this is a somewhat of a repeat of a review I did back in like somewhere between episode 15 and episode 30.
Okay, quite a while ago.
We'll set the Wayback Machine to 1967 if you're in Britain, 1968 in the United States. You'd been watching Patrick McGowan as either Secret Agent Man or Danger Man, depending on which. And suddenly he left that show to do his big dream show, The Prisoner,
Yeah, I used
which
to watch
was
that. Yeah.
that was I thought it was an incredible show. I still
Mhm.
find it amazing that that show is out there.
Yeah.
Uh, and Marv Wolfman at Marvel actually got the rights to doing a comic book of The Prisoner. And this is
Oh, wow.
Oh,
drop
wow.
That's big.
back a huge volume in which um, Jack Kirby, Gil Kane,
Wow.
and Steve Englehart put this together. This was their proposal for doing the comic book. They had turned it over to him. What they wanted to do was an actual kind of comic book version of the show itself. That's
Oh,
what
okay.
they
Yeah.
really had in mind. And
New
I talked to Kurt.
stories? Was it
What?
new stories or adaptation of the
This was just
episodes?
going to be the plan for this was to be an adaptation of the show.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, and I think that that would have been really great because I've talked to Kurt about this a lot, especially back in those time periods when you didn't have VHS, DVD, the way you could carry on people seeing shows that were out there was through comic books. So
Yeah.
they had laid out a whole series of drawings for the
Oh, wow.
comic that were really, I think, if you look at all these things that they had in the comic, they are so close to the show. If you wanted an adaptation of the show,
Mhm.
this was amazing, the piece they were doing. But as things would have it, it never made it into publication.
Mhm.
People at Marvel decided one of the I couldn't believe this. One of the people who was high up at Marvel at that time, because they have a little piece in the back where they tell you about Steve Englehart, about the show itself, about Patrick McGowan. They have all kinds of sections. And Steve Englehart said that at one point, they were trying to keep this alive, and one of the people at Marvel said, "Well, it's just a show about a guy on an island," which is just totally wrong. For those who never saw the show, have never had any touch with the prisoner, the idea of the prisoner was this person who worked for the British government. A lot of people want to believe it was the secret agent that Patrick McGowan played in Secret Agent Man, but there's no real identification. And everybody at the BBC said, nope, that's not who it is. But anyway, he leaves his job, which is a high security job. He goes back to his apartment. He's packing up his clothes because he's just frustrated with everything that's been going on. And suddenly gas gets pumped into his apartment and he's knocked out. And he wakes up in this place that he has no idea where he is. It's called the Village. And he's given a number there. No one will refer to him by his name. He's just number 6.
Number 6.
And the whole show then is about how people in the village are trying to make him crack and tell what he knows. He never knows whether it's his government testing his loyalty to the government and his commitment to not sharing the secrets, or it's a foreign government who's trying to crack him and get the secrets that he has in his head. But he refuses at every turn, no matter what they do, to give up the information he has. And he's over and over. One of the famous lines from the show is, "I am not a number, I'm a free person." And the whole show is really about him exerting his individuality in the midst of this reality that's trying to collapse it. And anybody would just say it's just about a guy on an island. I would be really frustrated with. So this piece is just a great introduction to what I think was a brilliant adaptation that could have been done that never got off. But you at least get the wonderful artwork that Gil Kane and Jack Kirby did, the adaptation that Kirby and Englehart were working on to make this something that would come out to the public and help people who maybe didn't get to see the show or whatever, get to participate in the show, because they were all huge fans of the show. They thought this was an incredible piece of work, and they wanted to, do justice to that in a comic book form. And this is just a great sort of presentation of what they had really hoped and what could have been in the 1970s as a representation of this. You also get some great articles in the back about Jack Kirby, about Englehart, about Gil Kane, and about Patrick McEwen. They also have a piece about him and his passion for this show. So for people who, like me, love this show, this is just a real gift to us. Be able to re-enter into that show again. So if there are people out there watching this who, like me, remember The Prisoner, which shows my age, here it is, a chance to go back and do that. And here's a teaser for the future. They did eventually do some Prisoner comic books.
Yeah, I remember that.
They were not representation for this.
Yeah.
And it was not done by Marvel. And so next time I will give you a review of the 3 comic arcs that actually did come out about The Prisoner.
Oh, cool.
They're in DC, right? In the Prestige format or something?
Yep, I think so. So I will...
I remember I have comics with ads of it in it.
So I will be reviewing those next time. So there's a little teaser for people.
Yeah, I remember the big white sphere bouncing around.
Yeah, the big, it almost looked like a big bubble.
Yeah,
So
I used to watch.
Trying to escape, it would grab them and bring them back to that.
I used to watch it on the cable network A&E in the early '90s. They would show The Prisoner, and they'd show the Avengers with Steed, and the Fugitive. So I'd watch those every day.
One of my favorite episodes of The Prisoner, because I thought it was just so clever how they did some of the things they did. They had the main character, they knocked him out. They did like reprogramming of his brain and stuff to change his hand, because he's normally right-handed to left-handed, to make him a smoker, which he normally isn't. And then they tried to convince him, and then they had a copy, somebody else become him, and then tried to convince him that he wasn't really number 6, to get him to try to give him information to show that he was number 6. And they had just a whole psychological thing going on to try to crack him and make him give up the information. But in the end, he manages to resist them and, in fact, foils their plan totally.
There's some fans that think he's the same character from Secret Agent
Yep,
Man.
a lot of people think that,
Yeah,
though the BBC always denies it and says
yeah,
that is not the case.
yeah.
So,
But if you want to put it in your own head, it could work,
yeah,
right?
I think it could have been. I mean, especially the way the character that he played in Secret Agent was always pretty. Um, he believed in what he believed in, and he was not going to let people bend him. And so, for him to go into the authorities that or his bosses and say, "I quit.
Yeah,
You guys are doing things that I just don't agree with, and I am not going to be a part of this anymore," would be very consistent with that character.
yeah,
And
right. Well, I want it to be true.
yeah, because I like Secret Agent Man too.
Yeah, catchy theme song too.
Yep.
Cool, cool. All right, jumping over to the next one for D. Brad.
Oh yeah, what do I have? Okay, yeah. This I've been waiting for a while. I was so excited to get it. It's a online comic strip that comes out every Saturday. It's all finished now, so there's 4 volumes of it collected, and it's published by a Canadian company, Raid Press. The cartoonist is Canadian like me, and his name is Dax Gordine. And so I had through Kickstarter's gotten his first 3 books, and and so I may have reviewed them, one of them anyway, sometime. But so I had like the 3 books, and it's about this fox and a little elf in the forest, and it's it's a fantastic art. I just love it. And so I was very excited when the Kickstarter is done, just to get all the gifts and rewards. When they reach a certain level, you get these extras. So there's like prints of his art. There's a bear who's a coffee barista here. His name's Barry. And then we've got another character, Grumpy Gus, the grumpy cat. He's an awesome character too. So you get all these print cards, and I get stickers of characters, and and then you get pins of the characters.
Nice.
And so every time they reach a certain level, you go, okay, I want to get the next one. I want to get the next reward. Bookmarks, I'm sure everybody will gets those and stuff. And I got and magnets. Well,
All right.
yeah, even a keychain. And so when it was time for the final one, what they offered was like you can get a slipcase,
Ooh,
or
Oh, all right.
hardcover slipcase, so all 4 fit. So
All right.
I do have the final book, and it's called Mischief and Monsters, and it just came out. And so uh, it talks about Barry the barista, Grumpy Gus. I just showed you pictures of them, along with some other characters. And fun thing is, I got
yes.
sometimes in the books I'll get a drawing, a remark, I guess you call them, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah. And a little message thanking me.
All right.
And then but that's not all.
Uh-oh.
What he did was a little bit different in this one. Usually it's humor. It's humor based, right? It
Mhm.
has some similarities to Pogo, with little woodland creatures that talk and discuss things. And he did something a little bit different in the final months. Is it was more of a continuing storyline. And so it came to a perfect conclusion. So he's not making them anymore. It has a definite ending here, but I'd love for him to bring it back someday. But uh, also came with a coloring book
Oh, cool.
Oh.
of its characters. I just love his style.
Yeah.
He's done some work for Scotty Young. He has a similar style to Young, for the I Hate Fairyland.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah. And Barry the Barista is on a coaster and a print.
So yeah, they didn't hold back on this final volume rewards.
a whole sheet of stickers, and
Oh,
A
nice.
storybook.
A little
yeah,
golden
no
book.
golden book. Look at that.
That's
Perfect.
cool.
Great.
Just like it. And it's got the inside, and the art's like watercolor. And so this was actually the very first version of the character. He changed a lot in looks.
Hmm.
And so he came up with the idea for the character in one of those Inktober challenges. And
Mhm.
so that's what this is. And then he just recolored it and refined the story to make it into a little storybook here.
That's great.
Yeah, so we got Thomas the Elf and Filbert are the main characters in it. That's their origin story there. So I was thrilled to get this. It's just my all-time favorite Kickstarter, and the rewards were good. And because it's in Canada, and I live in Canada, it doesn't cost me more than it would if I got it from the States. Like I get Kickstarter stuff from the States, it costs me like almost twice as much.
And from the opposite side of that, so we had
Huh.
Dax, the creator, on Cartoonist by Night. So we
Mhm.
learned all about Forest Folk and stuff like that. So people can check that out over on YouTube. And
Mhm.
when I started reading that, because you could read the web comic online and everything,
Yeah. I should have said that too. Yeah.
I was going to jump onto the Kickstarter because immediately I'm like, oh, I'll get some of these. And I started seeing the math and all that stuff. And now, from what D. Brad is used to getting Kickstarters from the US, I'm now seeing that cost on my side where I was just like, all right, I'll hold off right now, but I do want to get some eventually. So, but
I
yeah,
assumed it would be cheaper going your way because of the
yeah,
dollar.
yeah, I ran
But
into those.
the way I get my comics now, like I'm starting to collect Batman comics, is I get them from the States, but it's still through Amazon, so I don't have to pay shipping. But it's from a dealer in California who sends it,
Mm.
and it's like even cheaper than Amazon, or if I bought it from Canada. So I don't get it. How that person can afford to make it so cheap.
But yeah, from what I read, I was having a blast with it. It was a fun series, and yeah,
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I looked forward to every Saturday when it show up, so it doesn't show up anymore on Saturday. So
And when you mentioned about getting the slipcase, I know how exciting that would be because I was buying the Friends DVD sets as they
oh
came
yeah,
out from the start. And
yeah,
when they came out with season 10 of Friends, they also offered a giant collection, which had this fancy, like, wooden box that had this cool, like, it was like an entertainment center cabinet glass door that opened up, and it had a cool image of them in their suits and for the finales and stuff like that. And it was just a really cool case to put all of the individual sets into. But there were people that are just like, well, what about the other ones who've been buying every single season every year since they've been coming
yeah.
out?
Right.
Well, if you bought just the season 10 DVD set to complete your set, there was a mail-in order for just $20 just to get just to get the slipcase technically for the. So I know how cool that is to like
Yeah.
to
Really
get
cool.
excited, be like, oh, I'm like
Yeah, you
to
don't
miss
miss out on it.
yeah, to miss out on it, but then to
Yeah.
have the opportunity to add it on
Mhm.
to
Yeah.
reward those people that have been getting it from the beginning. So
Yeah, definitely. Like sometimes they reward people for waiting when they shouldn't. They should reward the people who are early. And I was early on that one, so I got some extra things too.
and and yeah, I didn't know anything about it until D. Brad brought it to our attention and invited Dax on the show, and yeah, and then I realized looking at my catalog of comics that I had some of his work and stuff with I Hate Fairyland and did like the little I forget if the term now if it was Little Marvels or whatever.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, some of the web exclusive stuff I think that maybe
Yeah.
saw
Yeah, he
It's
did
press.
a
just
lot
a
of those.
reminder that it's fun to get involved in Kickstarter programs that,
Mhm.
you get a lot of special things yourself, but just to get somebody off the ground sometimes is a really
Exactly.
meaningful thing.
Yeah. 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 I'll often just give to get Kickstarter. Um, like you don't even if you just want to help them out and give them money. Um, like I helped someone with a Kickstarter and I haven't gotten anything yet from it. And that was like 5 years ago. But but they keep sending me stuff to keep me in the loop
Yeah, yeah.
because I was waiting for a collection version of it of the whole thing, and it's been delay after delay. But they keep letting me know it's still coming. Here, we'll send you this digital copy while you're waiting, and
hold you over.
I haven't been forgotten or anything. It's just it has taken longer. So I appreciate that they do when people do Kickstarters that they do keep in contact with the people and let them know what's going on. Like I have another one where the author was sick, and so there was a delay on that. And so while you're waiting, here's a sneak peek of this issue. So and then they also let us know what's happening. And then you're not like, what's going on? Did they rob me? So it's good. Yeah, good contact. Because the Kickstarter is a pretty good thing because you can um have access to the people, ask them questions, things like that. Yeah.
And we have a friend that is prepping a Kickstarter. I don't know if they've announced it publicly, so I won't say the name, but
Oh, yeah.
they have been tossing ideas back to me, just being like, "Hey, what do you think about this?" And like, they were able to set up like a test page to give invites to, so it's
Oh,
not
yeah.
a live page that anybody can see, but I can see
Okay.
the layout. And then they had asked like, "Hey, do you want to submit some frequently asked questions or whatever?" And things
Oh,
that
yeah.
you can like build up the page. And they're talking about all of the things about what kind of updates and all the stretch goals. And they're trying to get all that planned so that people, like how you said, if you back and then you have to wait forever, that you're at least getting updates and you stay in
Yeah.
contact. Because
Yeah.
yeah,
It's pretty good organized.
now that is a great segue. This wasn't planned, but my next comic is a brand new comic that came from Kickstarter.
Oh, good.
Now, I forgot to mention this off air, so this will be recorded dialogue here. The character of Malloch or Malloch, is there a certain pronunciation, do you think? Because I don't know if that's like a known character in lore, but
Malloch is
Malloch,
is
Matlock.
Matlock.
is in some mythology a name for a demon.
Yeah.
So yeah, Malloch is kind of what I lean towards. I think there was even a Malloch in Buffy, so like I knew that
Right.
was a character that's been used in fiction, but I'm
Right.
gonna go with Malloch the Damned. This is a very glowy cover here, so let me get this.
Yeah.
Not blind everybody. Malloch the Damned. Mo Malloch was living his best afterlife until he came out as gay. To everyone's shock, Satan threw him out of hell. Out
Oh
of
no.
all of the atrocious things humans can do, being queer son of Satan is the worst? Question mark. That's where we meet the immortal, grumpy, magical, whiskey drinking, I wear a vest because it looks so cool, hell reject with a wry sense of humor. He's stuck on Earth until he can find a way back into the underworld. In the meantime, he solves supernatural crime.
Ooh.
This is done by David M. Boer, Winston Gambro, who is a friend of ours
Oh,
and
yeah.
has been on this very comic club show, Winston
Yeah.
Gambro, and Lucas Gattoni. Winston does all of the art inside this book here, drawn and designed by Winston Gambro. So
Can I
that's what
get a
got.
peek inside?
What's that?
We get one peek inside?
I'll show some stuff as we go.
Oh, you
Yep.
will? Okay.
Yep.
It'd be cruel not to.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's how I came to know about it, is through Winston promoting it. And Winston Gambro is Illinois creator that just does a lot of his own stuff. He does design work over at Oni Press. And then he's been attached to a couple Kickstarters as the artist with other people. And there's a lot of collaboration with other people that I like from other properties, things that they've written. And now, Winston seems to be getting a lot of awesome work coming his way on top of his own webtoons comics and his self-publishing and everything. But this is about Mo Malloch. I took some information from the Kickstarter to kind of accurately define these characters. So you have the Mo Malloch character, who is the son of Satan, cast out of hell, now solves, detective for supernatural crime. He has a sidekick. The sidekick's name is Milady. And Milady, now I'll show you this.
Oh, does that have a double meaning?
So, well, I'll show you this first. Is that so? Winston's art very much looks like kind of his. He did a haunted house story series, so he kind of leans into some of the darker, gritty, scarier type of stuff. This opens up in a very bloody fashion, but we are just to kind of see some of the very detailed, gruesome work. But we are opening up at a Our Lady of Sorrows Church in Miracle, Alabama. And there's like a poker game going on, and there's just a lot of, certain dialogue happening. And while this is going on, there seems to be something that possesses somebody in the room to lead to a massacre. That's just within the opening pages, and that's where we jump right into Mo Malloch's story and start meeting the cast of characters. Now, I showed you that dark and gritty realistic drawing in comparison to Milady, who is this very cartoony character. This is a 1 foot tall shape shifting imp. She's
Like
supposed to hide.
1930s style.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's supposed to hide from humans by taking form of Mo Malloch's fedora, so turning into his fedora. Uh,
Ah,
she looks like a cartoon extra from Steamboat Willie because in
yeah.
hell she punished child abusers with outlandish cartoon tortures. So
Oh.
while you have this very realistic setting, you have this walking cartoon within this character. And for another cool, cartoony, interesting character, you have Igon. Igon, I think is how you pronounce it. The
Mhm.
gadgets guy. Igon lumbers around like a steampunk beach ball. He's a he's a creature of no words and great mechanical skill. He was an architect in hell, helping build new tortures for new sinners. And then you have, and I got to flip some pages to show off this next character, Mrs. Veta Sosa, the mentor. She was Satan's wife when Malloch was young. Turns out life with Satan was torture, so she escaped hell and has been hiding in New Orleans. Sometimes she's a sexy brothel owner, other times she's an old voodoo witch. She gives Malloch leads on demonic crimes and help to get home. So and they call it out that she kind of like looks like a Jessica Rabbit type of
Yeah.
character.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
And they literally call that out, and it's all kind of part of the story. But here's the comparison once again with the artwork, the other interior artwork that Winston does with all of the other characters beyond the cast I just showed you. So it's cool to like have a lot of this like just very serious, gritty, awesome work, and then to see cartoon characters kind of like drawn into it.
Yeah.
I read this morning, and
Mhm.
as soon as I was done, I went right back to the beginning and read it a second time in a row because that's how much I liked it.
Oh, yeah.
This
Did,
was a
did you
blast.
miss anything first read?
Not really.
Yep.
I just got to sit in it a little more and just
Mm.
learn. Just yeah, it's just that I like that much. Where I'm like, man, I need to read that again. Now, it's it's got, I think on the Kickstarter it talked about it's got like a hell, like I think Hellboy fans would like it. It's got that kind of vibe to it.
Oh, yeah.
Got some
Yeah.
great comedy in it, but then it has a lot of dark stuff that like it's easy to say preacher just because there are some pastors and stuff that are in the opening of the issue and dealing with that, but it definitely, I think it fits in that vibe. And the one thing that they said that they were going for was a 90s Vertigo feel, the
Yeah, it
Vertigo
does look like that.
comics, and
Yeah.
100% they knocked it
Or
out of the
like
park.
or like even like Arkham Asylum. It's kind of like the
Okay, yeah.
scratchiness of the
And and here
background.
and here's some pages again to show you the collaboration of the cartoon stuff mixed in with the serious stuff. Like it's just an awesome blend and just great color work all around. And yeah, this was great. It is a very mature rated title if nobody picked up on that with some of the themes I've been talking about here with these character backgrounds. But it's one of those things that just feels like, oh yeah, this should easily have like 100 issue series.
Mhm.
Like it built up such a cool world right in this first issue, introduced a lot of very different characters, and such a great premise of the son of Satan who is stuck here and cast out of hell to now try to get back there, but in the meantime solving supernatural crime. So but yeah, this was really cool. This was a Kickstarter one. Now, sometimes when you do Kickstarters recently, you can kind of go to their page, and sometimes they allow for late backers. Now, since
Right.
we have physical copies out there in the world, I don't know if there's a timeline for that, but also the creators may still have extra copies and things like that. I
Right.
will lead everybody to our friend Winston Gambro because maybe he's got some copies through his web store and stuff. But Winston Gambro is all across social media and such. But yeah, I reached out to him this morning, and I'm just like, wow, excellent work on the book. And I'm like, I read it. I can't even think if I've ever done that with a comic where I finished it and then just be like, well, let's start at page 1 and just go at it again. Like, I don't know if I've had that before, but I really just wanted to dive in again. And yeah,
I've done that, but it's because I fell asleep reading it.
well, Winston, if you're listening or watching, I didn't fall asleep, so
That's good.
I woke up and I was bright and early, and this is the first thing that kicked off my Saturday was this dark, demonic, mystery.
What a way to start the day.
Yeah. But yeah, very, very cool, very fun. This is called from Lifeline Comics, and this is maybe from their Death line, according to their promotion on the back. And then they also say go to the website to check out more comics from lifelinecomics.com. But I will once again also be selfish and promote our friend Winston Gambro, because maybe he's got copies as well, and as the illustrator and stuff too, that I'll send people there first in case he does sell them. But yeah, this is great. Malloch the Damned, #1. I definitely will be looking out for more. So, and oh yeah, and when D. Brad was talking about all of the extra goodies and things like that, now while I didn't get a whole pile of stickers and magnets and coasters and aprons and hats and banners and shower curtains and all the other stuff that D. Brad showed off, this is just the first issue of the series. But they had this little collector card, trading card, and I happened to get the inventor guy, Igon. So yeah, it's a cool little stat card, and it's got like all of like the intelligent points and charisma, all the stats, I should say. And I think there are other ones too. And I think there's ways that on the Kickstarter where you can buy more of the sets, and not knowing what this was. And I just I'm supporting Winston, so I figured I'd try out issue 1. But yeah, if hopefully they do a second round and Kickstarter, and I can see myself scooping up some extras now that I know the world off of this first issue. But if anybody was trying to accomplish a very first great comic book to a brand new world, I think they knocked it out of the park with this one.
Nice.
All right, so that does it for me. I think we have one more from Dr. Kurtzstad. What you got?
Batman, the Court of Owls. Now, I have to say, one of the things that started me off on this one is I was just looking around Barnes and Noble one day, and I saw this in this format. I really had not seen a kind of arc of a comic in a compact format before.
Yeah.
It's much cheaper.
Yeah, I know, eh? Totally. So cheap.
Yep, and it's so for people who maybe struggle with buying comics because they're so expensive, especially like a big a series and an arc in those comic size books. I mean, it comes out to $20-some. This was less than half of that.
Like $9.99 or something.
$9.99, yep. And for the most part, I think the inside of it is just as nice. The colors may be a little more muted, but that may also be this storyline.
Yeah,
I think more muted color.
Yeah.
But I have to say now that I've given the plug for, if you're looking for comics at a more reasonable price, if you can find these compact versions, they're this could make your life much easier to get some of the things you want to read.
Yep. I got the Hush one.
Okay.
That's where I first got them.
And I have to say now, after buying this, and I had read a couple issues in this series, but reading the whole now Court of Owls arc of Batman, this is my second favorite storyline.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. My first would be Nightfall.
Yeah.
I think that is, for me, the quintessential Batman story. I mean, there's just something amazing with the night. But this is I think I would put as the second one. And what I think, for those who haven't read it, to give you just a few little teasers. Throughout Gotham City, they have had a nursery rhyme going around. It goes like this. Beware the court of owls that watches all the time, ruling Gotham from a shadowed perch behind just a second, behind granite and lime. They watch you at your hearth, they watch you in your bed. Speak not a word, a whisper word of them, or and then it's like we'll send a Talon to take your head. Batman is convinced this is just myth. In fact, most people in Gotham City at this point are saying, it's just a story we scared our kids with. But as the story unravels, we find out it's not. That there really has been, almost since the beginning of Gotham City, a secret underground organization that actually has laid the foundations of what Gotham City is. And they are dangerous. And Batman, Batman is, as a figure, is incredible in his ingenuity, his strength, his detective skills. He almost dies in this one. That's how dangerous the Court of Owls is. And not only is Batman caught up in this, but the whole Bat family is caught up in this movement within the city now. The Court of Owls is about ready to take over now overtly Gotham City, not just secretly anymore. And the only one who is in a position to stop them is Batman. And again, to give you a little teaser of how dangerous all this is, their assassins are near invulnerable clones that they have created, that if they're hit with wounds that heals right away, they come back from the dead when they're killed sometimes. And Batman has his hands full against the Court of Owls. There's a very creepy vibe about it. The illustrations take you into a darker, grittier sort of images than you sometimes find in Batman comics. The Talons are spooky. And we even see Batman have to fight them as Bruce Wayne when they invade his house.
Yeah, right. I remember.
And they find the Bat.
Yeah.
So I think this story is, like I say, for me, one of the best Batman arcs. There's also a second volume to this. It's the Night of Owls, where it is kind of going parallel to what's going on in this particular arc of the story, except what we get is a closer view of all the Bat family people and how they're caught up in the Court of Owls drama that's going on in Gotham City as well. So Batman, Court of Owls. I thought it was great.
Yeah, it's I know the praise for it is, top notch. Everyone, very high praise, and obviously what you did as well. It is one thing that I haven't read, and it's always been on my long list, and now especially with those new compact editions and stuff, now I think I'm a little more intrigued to scoop it up. And
Yeah.
it's like you said, it gets expensive when you're buying all these bigger collections, and if you look into like the omnibus and hardcovers and all that kind of stuff. So it's good that something that's so well reviewed and well respected can also be consumed at an affordable price. So.
Yeah. And also another way that I think people, if they're struggling with this is just so expensive, some of the Kindle editions are more reasonably priced than if you went out and bought the same collection in actual real material rather than virtually. But sometimes that's a way you can also get some books that you may really want to read, but the cost is just prohibitive.
Ooh, I just looked it up, and they do have a Swamp Thing compact edition too for Alan Moore stuff.
Yep.
Because right away, that was my first thing I typed in, because as someone who loves Swamp Thing, I'm like, I could see myself buying that, just even though I have all the other ones in large formats and stuff too. But
Mhm.
it's like whenever there's a new Star Wars edition, just be like, well, I gotta buy that movie again. So even
Yeah.
like a compact edition, something, whether it's good for like loaning out to, so that's a good recommendation too, is that for people that even if their favorite story is now in compact form and you don't want to loan out your precious, pristine copies or ones that you
Yeah.
get autographed or something like that, you can probably pick those up, and it's good loaner copies to, hand out to friends and family and stuff too. So,
Should say Scott Schneider and Greg Capullo were the
yes.
people who worked on this. So
Yeah, their stuff really
kudos to them.
Oh, yeah. Cool. All right. Then that is going to do it then for the weekly reviews, and that's going to do it for this episode. As one final plug again, Saturday, May 2nd at Oh Yeah Comics in beautiful downtown Skokie. I will be there to hang out and help out on Saturday, but then come back on Sunday because I will be there setting up my table, selling my comics and my art. I do have the Rice Christopher comics on the shelves of Oh Yeah Comics, so even if you can't make it on Sunday to see all the other stuff, I still have all the issues right there on the shelves, right next to the Oh Yeah Comics, which is debuting issue number 16, a crossover with Action Cat and G-Man from Chris Giorusso, who will be on hand to sign your comics as well. And that is the debut of my Oh Yeah Comics pinup. That it's been a long time in the waiting to see that in print, and it's happening soon. And there's going to be some more fun stuff down the road with my name on and Oh Yeah Comics, but that's all I am going to say right now. And then Saturday, which is going to be May 17th, I think. I have yes, 16th. Saturday, May 16th, the Prom Con, the West Bend High School's Comic Con, Saturday, May 16th in West Bend, Wisconsin. David is running that show, and that is one second annual high school convention. That is, all the proceeds are going to benefit the high school comic book club that David runs there. So check that out. Those are some upcoming appearances. Now on to the regular plugs. crimsoncowlcom for info and original webcomics. If you want to buy some of the Crimson Cowl Media comics, reach out to crimsoncowlcomics@gmail.com. Go to the YouTube video page, Crimson Cowl Comic Club, over on YouTube for subscribe, rate, and review for the full video experience. But if you prefer the audio podcast version, you could do that over on iTunes. Always do all the subscribing, rate, and review to help the show grow. I have my own comic books. If you want to reach out to me, latchkeykid@gmail.com. That's LAATSCH, latchkeykid or at gmail.com. And then I have my art accounts on Facebook and Instagram under Anthony Laatsch. And then myself and D Brad, we have Cartoonist by Night over on YouTube, some of the most recent episodes and all that will be available once this episode drops. Some recent ones, we had Ryan Francis talking about retro video games, and he is a comic book creator, indie comic book creator, and working on his own video game characters and designs right now. Awesome presentation in that episode of what he's working on. Then Brian Wingrove, we discussed mashups, cartoon mashups, and things like that, and drew that stuff. Here is some physical artwork of his cartoon mashups that I'm showing on the YouTube version. And then most recently, Austin Ackert, the creator of Carmine Sunshine, this cool like vampire Kickstarter comic book collection that he's doing. A collection of books that he created. He wrote and drew. It's a one-person show over there. And then his friend Hans Fink is designing the presentation of the collection. We discussed the Terminator and the Terminator, as well as learning about Austin and promoting the Kickstarter. The Kickstarter will be over by the time this Crimson episode drop is out there. But like I said, sometimes you can be a late backer to things. So check out the episode and check out all that stuff. So Cartoonist by Night over on YouTube to see myself and D Brad and our friends draw as we welcome on creator guests to draw, have some fun, and make some new friends and find some new comics. And then we'll promote our late friend Kirby's Under the Cowl of MS. Please check out Under the Cowl of MS. We lost Kirby, unfortunately, in the month of December in 2025, but we're here to still honor his memory and spread his word as Under the Cowl of MS over on YouTube. Talked about his life living with MS and being a in-home caretaker, and then he also mixed in comic book reviews and unboxings from artists as well as Kickstarter stuff. So if you want to see a lot of that kind of stuff, that's all archived there, hours upon hours upon hours over the last couple years of material over there. So Under the Cowl of MS. And I think that covers all of the plugs, and that's going to do it. Thank you to you two for joining us here for Crimson Cowl Comic Club. Thank you for everybody listening and watching at home. Tell a friend. This whole time, I've been a superhero janitor.
This whole time, I've been number 22 hanging with number 6 in the village. Be seeing you.
And all this time, I've decided that I'm not grumpy, you're grumpy.
To be continued.
Everybody take care, and we will talk to you again soon. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you, Slimer.